Hi, I'm Michael Clapham. I run Perfect Strangers Comedy and we're the producers of the first ever Manchester Podcast Festival alongside Emma Zillman from the Fields. So the reason we've decided to put this festival on now is because we had done a series of live shows with some of the biggest podcasts currently out there internationally and in the UK in terms of My Favourite Murder, Comedy Bang Bang, Guilty Feminist. They all sold so well, we thought there's a real appetite for this. So why not get them all together under one umbrella in a celebration of lots of different kinds of podcasts. And it's been done elsewhere in the world, so we thought, why not Manchester?
I'm John, I work for Perfect Strangers Comedy with Michael, and this will be the first Manchester Podcast Festival, so the idea is to bring the best of the UK's podcasts to Manchester. For a live show, different. I think the thing about listening to podcasts is that it's a very insular world, so you think it's almost like you're chatting to mates. So you're listening to their conversations and stuff, whereas the live shows show that, yeah, you're not alone. There's loads of people that are listening to these and enjoying them.
I'm excited to see everyone because they're all hand-picked. We didn't just put a call out there, for applications. We went out and got the podcast we wanted to hear. So for me, working with the Totally Football Show is going to be an absolute career highlight, as I really love James Richardson from back in Italian football in the 90s. I grew up watching that. Guilty Feminist obviously is an absolute phenomenon, so it's an honour to be working with them. Craig Parkinson is doing something really interesting with his podcast. Every show on there is doing something interesting and different, so we're happy to be working with everyone.
It's something different as well, I think. Like, there's a lot of comedy podcasts on, but the Hoovering covers. It's a food talk show almost, and the Two Shot podcast with speaking to creatives, a lot of focus on actors as well with Craig Parkinson's background. I think there's something for everyone, even with the Totally Football Show as well. Obviously James Richardson's a legend and definitely the one that Michael's most excited about. I think there's a little bit of something for everyone, and it is more just getting out and seeing that you don't just have to sit in your house and listen to podcasts. There's a whole community to engage with. Well, we're always on the cutting edge of different types of music, different types of film, TV, comedy. We're usually thereabouts. We've got some innovators in all fields, and I don't see why the podcast festival should be any different. Obviously with the BBC coming up here, we've got Media City. We have a lot of creative types in Manchester. And if it hasn't been done and it should have been done, then do it. So yeah, a little bit of that. More that there's now more and more podcasts that are being recorded live and doing live shows as part of the way that they make podcasts themselves. So it was not so much like, strike while the iron's hot or anything like that. It was just that there was enough shows that we thought could be good live shows in Manchester from the podcasts around the UK. I think people should come along to the festival because the more we get from the community, the more we'll be able to give back to the community. So this is our first year, so we're not quite there with community engagement yet that you might see from Manchester International Festival, but we do want to get there. We want to work with the universities, the school of sound recording from this area, and we want a lot of community engagement so that hopefully the more love we get from the community, we'll be able to give it back. Podcast I'm listening to at the moment, all the ones we have on, obviously, all our 8 of our podcasts. I like one called Nerd Poker, which is 4 American comedians playing Dungeons and Dragons, just sitting in the basement playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is obviously quite a niche thing, but I love listening to that. Bill Burr's always fantastic. Doug Stanhope, who I've just worked with, he's got a good podcast. Joe Rogan, of course, is always interesting. And too many football podcasts. I listen to 6 different football podcasts, which is probably excessive. How Did This Get Made? Which is an American one, which I like, just for Jason Mantzoukas mainly. Been listening to a lot of My Favourite Murder, All Killer No Filler as well. I really like Rachel and Curry. I've been listening to the most recent Two Shot podcast with Carl Pilkington, which was great, and the 3 Tech podcast with James Acaster, which I really enjoyed. And Totally Football twice a week, which is a good way of breaking up the not football days of the week. So on Thursday and Monday, when there's not as much football to watch, I can listen to people talk about football instead, which is always nice.
To find out more about Manchester Podcast Festival, people can go to manchesterpodcastfestival.com.
Follow us on, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, with it being our first year, there's not the greatest deal of content at the moment, but as the festival comes up closer, there'll be a lot more, and we're hoping to do a lot during the festival and next year as well, which will be huge, and we'll have a lot more small things going on, as well as the big shows. We'll have some more interaction as well, which will be good. So yeah, it's social media and the website manchesterpodcastfestival.com.
Head on over to Podcast.co/blueprint and get your copy today. The report includes loads of secrets and loads of shortcuts to allow you to get started really quickly, grow your podcast fast with minimal fuss and no technical headaches.